eternal, yet ever new. His advent and His proximity, His mystical leelas and His songs. Every mischief and miracle, a message memorable. Every pain and travail, a precept enacted. As the bud blossomed to reveal 1,000 petals, it can only be said that the fragrance of the first few years was unique.
At this moment, it wouldn't be out of place. All of you just take a moment and imagine how very lucky and fortunate we all are to be seated in this Puttaparthi. You know, the surface area of the earth is about 500 million square kilometers. In that, Anantapur district is 0.02 million. So it's a pinprick, Anantapur. And in that Anantapur, Puttaparthi is a pinprick. So in that spot which Swami has chosen, how very fortunate all of us are to even spend a moment here. Swami has permitted a lot of us to live here. It is definitely not out of place to take a moment, congratulate ourselves for this good fortune that has befallen us. You know, going to the family, we said Swami was born here in Puttaparthi. The story goes, the person we definitely have to start with is Kondamaraju, Swami's grandfather. A person, one of the first few to recognize Swami as the embodiment of divinity. In fact, one of the first few who knew that Swami was not an ordinary human being. How did he know? The story goes that he had a guru, a person who actually was a resident of this area, who was referred to as Venkavaduta. An Avaduta is a person who does not live in a place, who does not have a family or a house. He roams around. He's a recluse. And he would often visit this place, and whenever he would come, he would meet the saintly Kondamaraju. And one of his visits, he comes to Kondamaraju and he says, Kondamaraju, how fortunate we all are, how fortunate you are. So he says, Master, why? What is the fortune which you are talking about? He says, because I had a vision. I had a vision that Lord, that Shiva Shakti, that Lord we all worship is going to take a birth in your lineage, the Ratnakara lineage. So he knew much before that this was a blessing which was on its way. He had two sons, and typically of the style in those days, the elder son was Pedda Venkamaraju, the younger son was Chinna Venkamaraju. Pedda Venkamaraju was given in marriage to Mother Ishwaramma, but we call her Ishwaramma now, but her name was not Ishwaramma then. Her name was Namagiramma. She was living in a village which was many, many miles away from Puttaparthi. Their family was relocated and they came and lived in the place which is just across Chitravati. We named it Karnatnagepalli. We saw the house she was living in. And then she was asked to be given in marriage for Pedda Venkamaraju. And after the marriage, it was quite providentially, the grandfather Kondamaraju named his new daughter-in-law Ishwaramma, the mother of Ishwara.
Strange things began to happen. In their home, in the night, suddenly one would hear melodious music. Now, Kondamaraju used to often sing and play the instrument, but he could not play the percussion instruments and the melody instruments at the same time. Much later, somebody asked Swami, Swami, was your birth Pravesha or Prasava? Prasava meaning birth like any one of us takes birth. Pravesha meaning entry. Swami said, why are you asking me? Ask Ishwaramma. You don't go and ask a lady how she conceived the child. But here was Swami commanding them. And so Ishwaramma was asked, and Ishwaramma reveals that one day, as she was drawing water from the well, suddenly she saw a blue light come from the skies, and she said it entered my stomach. And after that she fell unconscious. This is all that she recollects. That in itself answered the question as to whether Swami was a pravesha or a prasava. Undoubtedly it was a pravesha, and this was recounted by Ishwaramma and later chronicled by Kasturiji in both Satyam Shivam Sundaram as well as Ishwaramma, the chosen mother.
Ishwaramma, of course, gave birth to 3 children, and finally she conceived for the 4th time. And it was before this 4th time this incident happened. The mother-in-law decides that it is a very auspicious thing to do Satyanarayana Vratam, especially when somebody is conceived in the family. So they decide to do the Satyanarayana Vratam. Mother Ishwaramma also takes part in it. She also worships every day. During the course of that Vratam of many days, Ishwaramma gets labor pains. So the story goes, Swami would narrate many times in the later years, that Ishwaramma was having labor pains and the mother-in-law was in the house of the neighbor performing the Satyanarayana Vratam. So the people of the Raju family come and tell Ishwaramma is having labor pains, please come. So she says, no, I cannot leave the worship in between. I will complete the worship and I will come and see her with the prasadam. The worship ends and the child is born. So she comes running with the prasadam. And because the child was born when the mother and the mother-in-law were performing the Satyanarayana Vratam, they decided to name the child Satyanarayana. And that is why Swami was named Satyanarayana Raju.
Dhanya ho Ishwaramba, Dhanya ho Ishwaramba, जग को दीजो लाल बाबा, जग को दीजो लाल बाबा। धन्य हो धन्य हो कलयुग में अवतार लिए सकल चराचर के भगवान, जगदोद्धारा साई नारायण। धन्य हो धन्य हो।
And what a beautiful moment it was, because the year in which Swami was born is called Akshaya. Akshaya Samvatsaram. In Telugu, Akshaya means infinity, limitless. He was born on a Monday, Somavaram, which is auspicious to worship Lord Shiva. And he was born during Brahma Muhurtam. What you see here is the horoscope of Swami. At this point, maybe a small clarification which needs to be done here. It is said that Swami was born on Kartika Somavaram. Kartika is again a very auspicious month in the Hindu calendar. But if you go to 23rd November 1926, you will see that in the English calendar it's a Tuesday. So they would say, what is this? The calendar says Tuesday, but we say Somvaram. According to the English tradition, the day starts at midnight. That is why we celebrate New Year. At the stroke of 12, we say Happy New Year. So the day starts at 12 and ends at 12 the next night. But according to the Indian tradition, the day starts when the sun rises. Because the day should start when the sun comes out. What's the point in celebrating the day in the middle of the night? That's why invariably in most of these horoscopes, you will see that the time of sunrise will be mentioned. So if you see 23rd November 1926, the time of sunrise was actually around 6 o'clock. and Swami was born around 5-6. So when Swami was born, according to the Hindu tradition, it was still the Kartika Somavaram.
A Somavaram meaning Monday.
అక్షయ సంవత్సరాన కార్తీక మాసాన శివునికి ప్రియమైన సోమవారాన పుట్టినావు. నారాయణ వ్రత వేళలో నవ్వులు చిందించినావు. నాగసాయిగా దర్శనమిచ్చినావు తండ్రి. పరమశివుడివా నీవు పరమాత్ముడివా. నారాయణ సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ సత్యనారాయణ.
What humans in their understanding and reasoning cannot identify and recognize, the nature and animal kingdom recognizes. When Swami was born, there was a signal from nature too. Because a little child, after the birth, it is given a ceremonial bath and it was placed in a room. After some time, when the people in the house came and saw there, they found that this little child was going up and down. They see, when they remove the child and remove the blanket, they find that there is a snake under that blanket. They thought, thank God we saved the child, but they didn't realize, Mahavishnuveyi Mahi Vishnuvai. Same Vishnu has come, wouldn't he come with the Seshanaga for his bed?
Kabir Das says that when a child is born, the first thing the child does is it begins to cry. In fact, if the child doesn't cry, the child is lifted and is hit till it cries. That is how it is. He goes on to say, Kabir Das goes on to say, Kabira jab hum paida hue, jag hase hum roye. The world smiled and I cried when I was born. Aisi karni kar chalo ki hum hase jag roye. Lead your life in such a manner that when you leave with a smile and the world cries. That's what Kabir Das says. And if we see Swami's life, there's one slight difference. When he was born, he also smiled, the world also smiled because the baby never cried. And talking about when he left his physical, all of us were there. We have witnessed what it is. Oh my God, how it was. Swami lying there with a smile on his face. Everybody crying inconsolably because that is the place he has occupied in all our hearts. And so with due apologies to Kabir Das, we can say that the best way to lead a life is to be born with a smile on the face where everyone is smiling and to leave with a smile on the face. That has been the avataric mission on earth. The baby never cried. Even as a little child, Satyam, he had so much love and compassion. It was a family that were non-vegetarian by their tradition. But Satyam would never eat non-vegetarian food. He never spoke strongly against his parents, disrespectfully, but he would just not eat. In fact, when a chicken was brought home, he would run and longingly caress the chicken. Love it, give it love like a little baby. Anybody seeing it would not have the heart to kill the chicken. That is how, with personal example, Swami transformed. He would also discourage cruelty against animals. Bullock cart races were discontinued after this little boy would come and go and embrace the bullocks. His love was universal. His love is universal. In fact, Brother Prem was saying how Venkavaduta said that Shiva Shakti is going to be born in your family. Swami gave an indication of that also. He would not wear only kumkum or only vibhuti. He will tell, I want both. Half he would put vibhuti, half he would put kumkum. Now that was the earliest indication of our dear Satyam being the Shiva Shakti Swarupa. Shiva symbolized by Bhasma or Vibhuti, and Shakti or the mother being symbolized by the Kumkum dot.
It is said that the best way to overcome temptation is to yield to it, and I am tempted at this moment. When you say Shiva Shakti Swarupa, many years later, Dr. Aldreja had this beautiful incident to share. He was a person who would very often go into Swami's interview room and check Swami's pulse, Swami's temperature and Swami's pressure. So one day he went into the interview room. It's a regular checkup he would do. Swami would permit him. Swami had given him that chance. So one day Swami gave one of his hands. He checked and he said with an alarm, Swami, your pulse is so low. Your BP is so low. and there's so much of irregularity in your pulse. Swami said, Alaga, is that so? I mean, what does that mean? Swami said, I mean, it means that you are having a stroke right now, Swami. Oh, Swami said. Then Swami asked, Doctor, do you want to check anything else? When Swami hints like this, then something is really wrong. So he got the clue. He said, Swami, can I check the other hand? He checks the other hand. BP is perfect. Pulse is perfect. Swami looked at him and said, Doctor, what is the diagnosis now? He said, Swami, science cannot explain this. What is this? Swami said, Ee roju Shivuduku konjam baagaledu. Swami said, today Shiva is a little sick. Which means one side is sick and the other side is fine. Swami said, I am Shiva Shakti, I am Ardhanarishwara.
And as a little boy, Swami, he would sweep the house, he would mop the house, he would clean the utensils, he will help in folding of the clothes. In fact, what was Swami's nickname? He was called Adamari Satyakka. Adamari means like a woman, Satyakka meaning Sister Satya. Everybody called him Sister Satya because here was Satyam coming and helping in all the household chores, doing all the work. And even the avatar had its Aksharabhyasam. Aksharabhyasam meaning that when you are initiated into education, Swami would come to children, take their slate, hold their hand and make them write Om. Initiate them into education with the primordial sound. Swami himself was initiated, but those days there was no slate. And the honor and privilege of initiating Swami, whether he knew it or not, whether he realized it or not, went to a certain P.T. Krishnamachari. He held Swami's finger and made him write on the sand in the ground. He made him write the Telugu letter Om and initiated Swami. And Swami too participated. So that was how little Satyam had his initiation done, after which he joined a primary school in Puttaparthi.
Imagine today we sing to Swami, we look at Swami and say, Pranava Swarupa Hari Om. To teach that Lord how to write Om. What a great fortune it is indeed. Swami had this beautiful quality. He would go around, scout around in the village. Whenever he would see any poor man, he would bring him to the house, give him food, go and open all the cupboards, take whatever little cloth was there, give it to the man. So this became a problem for this humble household. This was a simple family, did not have much resources, and Swami was constantly doing this. So at one point, the mother catches young Satyam, and he says, we cannot go on endlessly feeding poor people like this. We cannot make ends meet if this goes on like this. So the next time, when they sit to eat, again a beggar comes at the door, and little Satyam insists that this beggar has to be given food. So the elder brother Seshamaraju looks at him and says, if you so much really want to give food, give your share. So immediately this little Satyam picks up his food, picks up his plate, goes and gives it to the beggar. And after that, how much ever Isharma would plead with him to come and have food, he will say, no, I gave my word, I have given my share, I will not eat. So at the end of the day, the mother is after all a mother. She couldn't put up with this pain of having to see her young child go hungry. So she catches Satyam and says, Satyam, please have something, please have little food. And Satyam says, no, Amma, I have had my food. And as proof, he shows his belly, which is bulging. He says, I've had my food. You don't believe me? You smell my hand. And the mother smells the hand, and there is this beautiful fragrance of milk and ghee coming out of this hand, showing for sure that this young child has definitely had something. But this was Swami, who would say that if anybody asks, I cannot say no.
And one of the most beautiful things Swami did by example was to start the Pandari Bhajan group, as this painting shows. He became a guru to all the classmates. Everyone would call him Guru, and during Ram Navami, when they would take out a procession with the photograph of Lord Rama, they would make Satyam sit there. And when the parents and the elders would get shocked, the little ones would say, he's our Guru, let him sit there. Can you imagine? Children are pure-hearted and truthful. And when they feel that Satyam is God, Satyam is Guru, you can believe 100% that Satyam is Guru, Satyam is God. And he started this Pandari Bhajan group, and all the children would go and do bhajans. They wouldn't want to while away their time. The parents don't go for bhajan, but these children are going. They were ignored. And then you know what happened? The fame began to spread because there was once a cholera outbreak in this region. and all the villages were getting afflicted. The 2-3 villages where Satyam and his Pandari Bhajan group went and did bhajans, those villages didn't have cholera. And so everyone said, oh my God, if you want vaccination, call Pandari Bhajan group. That is how the name and fame of Satyam's Pandari Bhajan group spread, and he taught children to sing the sweet name of the Lord.
Swami would often say, my life is my message. His life itself was the message that he gave, but it could also mean the other way around. My life is in my message. If we want to live with Swami, if we want to make Swami a part of our lives, it is this message we all have to worship. And it is his message of love, selflessness. And when Swami said, do bhajan, Hari bhajan bina sukha shanti nahi, Swami would say. These are all the messages, little messages which Swami gave when he was himself little. Swami would often say, Ipude nenu inta pottiga unnanu. Even now I am so short, imagine how I would have been when I was a little Satyam. And he started his message when he was a little Satyam. This is just the beginning of the beginning. Because Swami, as Arvind was saying, after this, Swami travelled to Kamalapuram, Swami travelled to Bukkapatnam where he studied, and then the crescendo in Uravakonda.
You know, our endeavor has been to bring out those little known incidents. The episode of, Lord Hanuman going around Swami is very famous, very well known. That happened during this period. The episode of Swami going up to the Kalpavruksha and plucking fruits and plucking many other gifts from the tamarind tree and giving to the boys is well known. The feast has just begun. This is a feast that how much ever we take, we will not feel full. Before we conclude, here's one thought Brother Prem said about thinking of the Lord. Once a devotee asked a master, a sage in the Himalayas, he was asked, there are so many people, they go into raptures of ecstasy, taking the name of the Lord. When Mirabai said Krishna, she got such bliss. When Tyagaraja said Rama, he got such bliss. Why is it that name is not giving me bliss? When I chant my Lord's name, why am I not getting that bliss? The master said, see, a jaundiced tongue will never be able to taste. Someone, when he has malaria, any sweet put on the tongue also will taste bitter. It is not the fault of the sweet, it is the fault of the tongue. The devotee did not leave. He said, Master, then give me the medicine. Give me the medicine so that my tongue also becomes disease-free, and so I am also able to enjoy the sweetness of the Lord's name. And that is when, with a smile, that master said, my dear child, the beauty of the Lord's name is that it in itself is the medicine. Just keep taking the Lord's name as the medicine. A day will come when you will be cured of your disease. A day will come when you will start enjoying the sweetness. A sweetness like nothing else in the universe. A sweetness for which Mirabai was ready to drink even poison. Once actually Swami was asked this very question. Swami, you say Mirabai took the Lord's name and always was lost in Krishna Nama, in thoughts of Krishna. But she suffered so much, Swami. She suffered so much. Swami said, did Mirabai tell you that? Did she tell you she suffered? This is what you assume she suffered. Do you know what was the extent of her bliss? The bliss was such that she was ready to drink poison but not give up Krishna's name. She was ready to undergo beatings and thrashings but was not ready to give up Krishna's name. That was the joy she got, and it is only you who think that she suffered. Mirabai never suffered. Tyagaraja never said he suffered. We think that they suffered, but you just try it out. The Lord's name is sweet, no doubt, but it in itself is the medicine that will cure us and treat us and heal us so that we also can enjoy that sweetness.
So thank you all for being with us and giving us this opportunity, because it is indeed a great opportunity for us to think of Swami and speak of Swami. So we thank you all for your company this evening.